You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
This podcast is made possible by the Made in Oklahoma program. Created for Oklahoma's entrepreneurs, the free-to-join program focuses on economic growth and development for the small businesses who grow, process, or manufacture a good within Oklahoma. Retail stores who sell Made in Oklahoma products can also benefit from their program. Above all, they encourage you to support and shop local wherever possible. Find them on Facebook and visit their website at www.madeinoklahoma.net to learn more.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode via Zoom today because technology is awesome and my guest is in another state, which is awesome. Love it. Love ties to Oklahoma. So with me today, I have Caroline Henderson, and we're going to talk about Milo's tea. If you're probably a big tea drinker, you would know Milo's tea. I, being from the UK, am a big tea drinker, but hot tea. So still, I mean, I've drunk a little bit of cold tea. It's just, there's just a comforting thing for me. Just drinking hot tea reminds me of home. But Caroline, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. Before we get into talking about the business and your role, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So yes, I'm calling in from Birmingham, Alabama. And the first thing I'm going to do after this call is send Mike some refrigerated tea because I think he's going to have to taste it in comparison.
Sure.
You probably have not had the wonderful fresh brewed experience that you get with Milo's Tea Company. So I'll make sure that happens.
Thank you. Yeah, I have not. You're right. I have not done that. So down in Alabama, born and raised in Alabama?
No, I'm from Miami, Florida, and then went to the University of Alabama, and then my career brought me back here.
Mm-hmm. So were you, I guess, do you have a different, upbringing to me in the tea? And was there something that you kind of drank growing up as well then?
Well, we also have lemonade. So I had a lot of lemonade in South Florida, but when you live in Alabama, where I spent my undergraduate college degree, you know Milo's, and Milo's has been around for a long time. So I am the executive vice president of business development, and I lead our sales team as well as our marketing team with Milo's Tea Company. And Milo's was founded in Birmingham, Alabama back in 1946. We were founded by Milo and B. Carlton. And Milo was our CEO, Trisha Walwork's grandfather, and he had just come back from serving in World War II in 1946, and he married his sweetheart. Together, they opened a hamburger restaurant, and people loved the burgers, but they also loved our fresh brewed tea. So Trisha's parents joined the Milo's team and quickly realized that people were coming to the restaurant just for the tea. So they began to sell the tea in local grocery stores in the Birmingham area. And now we're in 45 states and more than 31,000 retailers nationwide. And fast forward to today, where we have just opened a plant at the end of 2020 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so we can have even more capacity and serve even more customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's... I mean, when you go to the website, you read the story, right? You know, Milo mean B, and coming back from World War II and getting married and having the restaurant, and then, you know, figuring out that everyone's returning because of tea, not necessarily because of the food. And the tea kind of was the standout, which is really cool to have people coming in for that when you have a restaurant, and then deciding, you know what, like, let's just go into the tea business, and now to be in that many states, and like you said, to have a plant just opened up in Oklahoma, I guess that probably helps so much being centrally located with distribution, right?
Yeah. So for us, Oklahoma was really important because it added capacity. We're the fastest growing national brand, and it gave us a lot more space for new items and growth. It's helped with transportation savings, and then it's allowing us to have a Milo's family outside of Alabama.
Oh, really? So were you, I guess, predominantly was in Alabama, like producing everything? Oklahoma, I guess, is the first state to have like a production facility?
Correct. So we have always produced everything in Bessemer in Alabama.
Yeah. That's really cool for Oklahoma to be like the first one, right, out of Alabama, and to have that, it's not easy, obviously, when you're a company to take that next step, right? And even one as your size, to trust in a new plan and to go through that whole process. That's, it's an honor, I'm sure, for Oklahoma to have that, especially in Tulsa.
Yeah, we actually went through quite an interview experience to look at different locations, and Tulsa not only gave us a good midpoint for distribution, but the team really felt like their first visit, it felt like home to Milo's. And we felt it was very family centric, and the culture aligned with our company values and standard of living, and also was a wonderful place for our people to be able to live.
Yeah. So did you come up with the team when they chose?
I was not yet with Milo's when they came up to visit, but I did come for the ribbon cutting of our plant, which was awesome and really cool. So we need to get you out to see the plant. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, I'm back and forth to Tulsa. I live in Oklahoma City right now, but I'm in Tulsa at least once a month. So for sure, we could definitely do that. So when you came to Tulsa, tell me, had you been to Tulsa before that?
I had not. That was my first time to Tulsa.
Yeah, tell me, how was that? Like, what kind of stood out to you, and I guess places you ate and stuff like that?
Well, when I came, it was still in the middle of COVID, so I didn't get to have as much fun as I would have liked to. So that's why I'm planning my next trip now that I'm vaccinated to come back. So I'll need more of a tour, but we were really in and out for the ribbon cutting, and we're able to spend a lot of time with our team there. Right.
Yeah, I'm sure coming back, it's great now. Like I said, you vaxxed, and many people are getting vaccine and just all the rest of it. Like it's I'm sure just, and even from the production side, right? Like having people in the plants and working closer together. Like that must have been so hard to deal with just distribution and production, and like yourself and other businesses obviously are dealing with the same thing. But so planning coming back to Tulsa, yeah, there's a long list of things that you need to do. It might take one or two more trips to take everything off the list. The gathering place is really good, just to hang out. I mean, there's tons of museums, great food, good breweries. Yeah, it's you'll enjoy it for sure. So with the plant, tell me a little bit like specifically about the plant then and the jobs it's created, and I guess why Tulsa? I know you mentioned briefly, but why Tulsa specifically over the other cities that were kind of in the front running for it?
It was just geographically a really great place. And a really fun fact about Tulsa, our CEO, she wanted to be sure the water tasted the same. So this is actually a great story. So we sent water back in a truck from Tulsa to Bessemer to test it. We wanted to be sure the quality had the right feel. So we tested, ran it on our tea and lemonade to be sure that if we made it in Tulsa, it would taste just like the ones we've been making for decades in Alabama. So it passed the test, and that was kind of the last step for the group. But the facility itself is 100,000 square feet on 20 acres. It was a $60 million investment for our company, and actually the largest capital investment we have ever had in company history. And what's also incredible is we finished on time and on budget. And we opened in September of 2020 in the middle of a pandemic, which was incredible. And we've already added 60 new jobs in the Tulsa area, and we're expected to add at least 110 jobs within the year. So
you're totally right with the water thing, because, again, me drinking hot tea, there's nowhere out here that reminds me and tastes the same as it does back home. It just doesn't. No matter how much sweetener you put in it, how much sugar you put in it, flavor, whatever, it's just not the same. And it's one of the things when I go home, I crave, even when I go to my grandparents' house, I'll go to one grandparent and they both tasted different, and they're 3 miles apart and they taste different tea. And I'm sure, especially when you're making as much as you guys are, that's a pretty big deal to make sure that it tastes the same, right? Because you don't want to, get into production and have the facility and start producing and shipping out batches, and people are like, this doesn't taste the same.
Right, exactly.
So that's a pretty big, a lot of research for you guys have had to do that. And I'm glad that Tulsa's water tastes similar to what it does in Alabama, so we can have this facility.
Yeah.
So the flavors and the products, I'm sure people listening know what Milo's is, but dive into, I guess the flavors, and you mentioned the tea and the lemonade as well. Like, what is there anything that's coming that's new? Are there any ones that are just kind of staples? Like, tell me about the products.
Sure. So our products, we brew our tea daily. So it's fresh brewed tea with real tea leaves, and we use only high quality natural ingredients. So we never add preservatives or colors to our beverages, which is really important to our fans. So it's as close to homemade as you can buy at the grocery store, similar to what you talked about with your grandmother. We have 100% natural teas and lemonades. And so right now you can get us in a gallon size, a single size, and a multi-pack, so a 6-pack. And we have just launched an extra sweet tea, which is getting a lot of attention because it's even sweeter than your regular sweet tea.
Really?
Yes.
That's a big deal, right? Just tea drinkers is making sure that they can taste how, that sweetness on hot summer days. The first thing they want is that tea. Do you guys do, me being a golfer, do you guys do any Arnold Palmer mixes as well?
We do. We have a tea and lemonade mix, and it's a good week for you to ask that with the Masters going on.
Yeah, I mean, for people listening, we are recording this on Masters Thursday, and I have spent literally all morning in front of my TV. But
I can actually see your Masters hat in your background.
Masters hat in the background. You're right. It's. I grew up playing golf, so it is like holy day for me.
Yeah, our tea and lemonade mix is awesome, so I'll have to be sure to send you some of that to try too.
Sure, definitely. So tell me about, obviously, coming to Tulsa, the massive deal for the business with that much investment in it. And then from your standpoint, like being the strategic business, where do you, obviously this helps with distribution and stuff, but what about like the kind of the direction of the company now? I mean, this is a huge expansion, right? And you managed to make it work on time during 2020, which, was a year that sucked for many people. What's kind of like direction of the company? And I guess you're, being fairly new to the business, I guess your role coming in and moving it forward and, basically putting Milo's in every single store and every home that you can find.
Yeah, let me think for a second on that answer.
That was a long question.
That was a long question. Okay. So for us, growth is really important, and Tulsa just gives us that new additional space where we can provide to even more stores and have new items. And it was really key for us to have capacity. We had almost outgrown what we could do in Bessemer. And so the timing couldn't have been more perfect for the new plant and when we opened it.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess for people listening, like, what is your kind of, like, what do you do every day? Like, what's like down to your day-to-day route, job, I guess? Because the title, it can be very vague, right? And people don't really know. They see your title and they might, oh, well, I mean, what do they do every day?
Great question. So being business development, which is not only sales, but also the marketing, my team is, first of all, awesome. We have just one of the most incredible sales forces. And so we have team members that are out in the grocery stores and are being sure that we have product on the shelf and that everything looks and feels right. We have a headquartered sales team that is dedicated to calling on accounts and trying to get us in as many places as possible with more product in more places. And then my marketing team, they're really responsible for a lot of our social media and external communications and thinking about how we want to promote ourselves, whether it's from a billboard to a commercial, and just really creative on that side. And then we have a product team that is right now, as we speak, testing new products that I can't tell you about yet, but I will when they're out, and being sure that they meet our standards, piloting them so then we can launch new ideas and innovations.
Yeah. What's it like being, I mean, the company obviously has been around for a very, very long time. What has it been like for you coming in and I guess bringing like, new marketing techniques and new just ideas with social media and and stuff like that. Has that been a big push as well to kind of go the social media route and because everyone's on their phone, everyone has a device and a way to see it. And I think probably for the amount of money that you could spend on marketing on social media compared to what you spend on TV probably would be, it seems like you get a lot more for your money, right? With social media. How has that been transitioning, I guess, into more social stuff?
Great question. Our team has really grown prior to me even coming in social media, and we have so much more to do. So we are just really excited about it. The wonderful thing with Milo's is the amount of fans we have. We have people who have named their dogs and cats after us. We actually have a fan who has gotten an image of one of our gallons of tea tattooed on his arm. We have fans who have our logo on their birthday cakes. So it's just absolutely incredible. And so for us to tap into those fans and, continue to make Milo's moments, that's what we're about. And I would say the thing that I was most excited about coming here was not only just the culture and the people and how much we invest in our team, but in creating Milo's moments. So that's why we do what we do. And an example of a Milo's moment would be there was a child, his name was Taylor, and he was a cancer survivor, had childhood cancer. And Taylor, when he was sick, when he was really little, he could only drink Milo's. That's all that tasted good to him. And so we sent him a bunch, and his family kept in touch with us. And they actually reached out to us last year to let us know he'd graduated college and sent us a picture of him still with a bunch of empty Milo's in his truck. And that was just really cool. I mean, that's what it's all about, is creating these moments for our consumers and our fans, and bringing that culture that we feel inside outside.
Yeah, that you're right. That moments like that just, makes you happy and makes you, know that you're appreciated, know that things that you do every day are being valued. And, if that's just the one story that you hear, then you're doing the right thing. One thing I realized for me, being, it's such a family thing, drinking tea, right? We just had Easter, and I go and have Easter lunch with my family and extended family. And there's probably 25 of us there. And on the table, there's tea and water, it's, for me, not being someone who grew up around it, I only just kind of realized that it's such a family orientated drink, right? It's, people, bring other drinks, but most of the time it's tea or water that's on the table. So I'm sure there's so many moments like that people subconsciously probably haven't even realized that, because tea is just a normal part of their lives.
Yes, you're right. We gear up for Easter, for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the summer holidays. So it is a staple on many, many tables across the country.
What, you might get asked this quite a lot, but what's your personal favorite tea flavor?
My personal is actually the tea and lemonade that you mentioned. And then we have a 0-calorie tea. So I like that one also.
Yeah. Well, so as a pretty large size business, you have the opportunity to have quite an impact, right? And choose different initiatives and things that you value, and, core business values that you already have. I guess what is some that kind of stand out to you that you guys stand behind and want to champion?
Great question. We have a huge commitment to diversity, and we are a primarily female-run business, which is awesome. So we are a certified woman-owned business, and our CEO, Trisha Walwork, is just awesome. 40% of our salaries and wages go to women, and it's a huge focus area for us. We actually have more women than men serving on our board of directors right now. And we're in the process of continuing to evolve different programs on diversity. We're also a national leader in sustainability in regard to waste management and water conservation. That's been huge for us. It's an important piece of our corporate responsibility. And one of the things, we are platinum certified zero waste manufacturer, which means we divert 99% of our waste from landfills. A recent example was we worked with the Tulsa Botanic Gardens to supply our spent tea leaves for composting on the garden grounds. And we've actually conserved close to 12 million gallons of water since 2019.
Yeah, that's the people don't think about, right? They have their plastic jugs of tea and the water that it takes to make it and everything else. And you don't think about where that bottle's going or where that jug, like you're right. That's such a really cool thing to have and some great, great mission to stand behind, really, right? And especially having certified, woman-owned business and who doesn't love trying to keep the planet going, right? That's kind of a big deal.
Right, exactly.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. This, there's a lot of cool stuff that you guys are doing. I'm sure Tulsa is extremely happy to have you. I look forward to coming up whenever you come back in town. We'll take a look at the plant and see what things are going on. It seems like a giant facility and something you guys have invested a lot of money in. And for Tulsa to be, like I said, the first place that you guys have built, a plant outside of Alabama, and thankfully the water tastes the same and everything. Like that's a huge deal. And I hope people listening realize that. Is there anything you want people to know, that any kind of just things that, common misconceptions about Milos or just anything that just stands out that I guess people should know that they don't, or do they just need to try it if they haven't?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is if you haven't heard of us, look us up. So we actually have a product store locator now on our website, drinkmilos.com/locate. So that's where you can find all the products near you. And we just want people to know how excited we are to be a part of the Tulsa community. And I'm actually going to count on you to give me a proper tour when I come back. I know all of the rest of our executive team got one and just absolutely love the community and the town. So I'm excited to come back. And beginning in this month, we're celebrating 75 years of making Milo's Moments. And we look forward to creating so many more right here in Oklahoma.
Yeah, definitely. I'll look forward to that. I'll think of some great places to eat because there's plenty. And yeah, we'll for sure make that happen. Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time out to come on the podcast. Safe travels when you do come to Tulsa. And for everyone listening, I'll post the links to Milo's down below. And yeah, we'll catch you next episode. Cheers.
This podcast is made possible by the Made in Oklahoma program. Created for Oklahoma's entrepreneurs, their free-to-join program focuses on economic growth and development for the small businesses who grow, process, or manufacture a good within Oklahoma. Retail stores who sell Made in Oklahoma products can also benefit from their program. Above all, they encourage you to support and shop local wherever possible. Find them on Facebook and visit their website at www.madeinoklahoma.net to learn more.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.